welcome to On the 214 here on Gonzalez Podcast. We are on YouTube and everywhere you get podcasts. I'm your host, David Gonzalez, and I am here with my twin brother, Daniel. Man, how are you?
It's been good. It's been a while since we've done one of these, and so really excited to get back. Season's about to start. A lot of football to talk about. We missed a lot of stuff, big stories, but I think it finally feels good just to be back. So excited.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting show. So obviously on the 214, we're focusing just on the Dallas Cowboys. In this, we're going to talk about preseason weeks 1 and 2. We're going to break down the win against Seattle, against Arizona. And then we're going to talk about the 53-man roster, what our predictions are, who we think are going to stay on the team, who are our bubble guys. And we're going to talk about the guys that kind of stand out, that are really good. They're going to be exciting, I guess, for the future of this Dallas Cowboys football team. And then we're going to get into predicting the NFC East. We're going to talk about each team, what we like, what we don't like, what we're seeing and hearing out of training camp for each of those teams, and then predict how the division's going to kind of shake out. And so, Daniel, let's go ahead and get started with our first preseason game, which was against the Seattle Seahawks. We had a 17-7 victory, which doesn't seem like a big deal, obviously preseason, but it is against the Super Bowl champions. Daniel, what kind of stood out to you in this game that you just were really impressed with, or things that may be a little bit of a concern?
Well, I just think, that first week, a lot of people think that preseason doesn't matter. I think most of us probably, to some extent, agree with that statement. But what you really want to look at, especially in the preseason, is concepts, offensive concept, defensive concepts. Everyone was really curious on like, okay, how is Christian Parker's defense going to look right out of the gate? Even though, a lot of these players probably won't make the roster by the time we get to week 1, are the concepts hitting home? Is the defense able to be grasped to where you can look at the players that we do have that are going to make the team? Will they be able to execute it if the second, third, fourth guys are able to get it? And so between the first 2 games, and I'll just focus on the first one, holding the Seahawks to 7 points, um, to me that's something, because it means that they're getting it. Like, they're starting to get the content of it. Offensively, Joe Milton didn't look as great as he did in week 2. So that if we're just going off of just week by week 1, I was like, I think the offense could have played a bit better. But defensively, I was very impressed of like how they were able to grasp the concepts of the defense that Christian Parker is laying down. And so I think that was encouraging for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll disagree with you on the way that Joe Milton. I thought he looked really good in that game. He was 12 for 15 for 107 yards and a touchdown. I think in comparison to
Sure,
Arizona,
sure.
but I still thought that he played really, really well. I think Sam Howell played a pretty good game. I think for him, it was the one big throw to Camden Brown that kind of really put a bunch of that yards to end in that first half. But I think Joe played so well. And I think I'm just going to talk about how the offense looked. I mean, we only averaged 3.8 yards a carry, but Malik Davis kind of really showed out in this game. And I think because we had been talking about, obviously not on the podcast, but people have been talking about, okay, well, who's going to be running back number 2? Is it going to be
Mhm.
uh, Jaden Blue, or is it going to be Phil Maffa? But Malik Davis, not coming out of nowhere, but he just wasn't necessarily in the conversation that everyone was having
Mhm.
about R2. And it's in this game, and then also in the Arizona game, he looked really good. Some to where you're just like, he has to be RB2. And I think that was the most
Mhm.
impressive thing, is just his ability to kind of show out in this game. Jaden Blue in this game against Seattle really struggled. 8 carries for only 19 yards. But I think, like I said, let me go back to just Joe Milton real quick.
Mhm.
I think he played extremely well considering with how he looked last season, where it was kinda
Oh,
like a
yeah,
in the
100%, yeah.
headlights
Just night
in
and
that
day
moment,
difference.
and he looks like, and he even said it, like, he now has a full off season, and 'cause he said last year, he knew maybe about 75% of the playbook. Now he
Mhm,
knows it very, very well, obviously has Dak as a mentor, and you could see just the development that he had and how well he
mhm.
played. Um, and then we have Camden Brown, the
Yeah.
rookie, kind of showing out. I mean, he was really, really impressive from I think he's from uh, Georgia Southern, and he played so well. 3
Mhm,
catches, 60 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns, including a one-hander. Both of them actually really well contested catches,
mhm.
and so he was really, really impressive. I agree with you about the defense especially, though, of you're looking for and I think you said it so well. You're looking for if the guys down the depth chart can grasp this defense, and they did. They were setting edges. They were doing a really, really good job of containing. Obviously, a couple broke out. Malachi
Yeah,
Lawrence had one where he kind of lost contain and it went out, but he showed flashes in this game as well. James Houston showed flashes as well, and then even our secondary, like Siobhan Revel was great, was shutting it down, as well, and so, yeah, I think the Seattle game was extremely impressive. I think they did really well, but I think it's the next preseason game that was so good,
yeah.
against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not saying anything
Mhm.
I'm not trying to, get ahead of myself, but did you know that
Uh-huh.
the Dallas Cowboys had not beaten the Arizona Cardinals in the regular season or in preseason since 2017?
Yeah, I think that's probably why a lot of people, I don't wanna say overreact, they just got super giddy at the end of the Arizona game. It's because of the fact that Arizona has consistently owned the Cowboys for almost a decade. No matter, I'm talking about in the height of the McCarthy 12 and 5. If we would play the Arizona Cardinals, no matter if they were like a struggling team that may have been picking in the top 5, they were going to beat us. Um, so yeah, I would imagine a lot of people were, and I'm not going to let David get away with this because
What?
he is coming on here and it's
What?
like I don't want to overreact. I don't want to, get ahead of my skis here. But let me tell you guys, as soon as like the Cowboys started making plays, I'm getting texts from, and I'm trying to be well, no, I'll save this for later. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I guess for a lot of people, it felt really good to beat the Cardinals for sure.
Yeah, 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 just save it till
I will
later.
save it. I will save it till later.
Yeah, save it till later. So the Cowboys win this game 34-13. Joe Milton, this was his
This was
standout
his
game.
breakout game. Yeah,
His ability to even in some plays scramble out of the pocket and continue to make that throw downfield, the
yeah,
accuracy that he had in this game, 2 touchdowns, scored actually 3, 2 passing, 1 rushing, over 179 yards passing on just 13 attempts, was absolutely phenomenal. And then somehow he struggled in this game, 7 for 10, 65 yards with an interception. Um, it's oh, I got really excited there. It seems that, um Joe Milton has kind of now run away with QB2. Um,
yeah. Hmm.
I feel like there's really nothing unless and not even this in tomorrow's game. I don't know who I guess they're probably both still playing, which I hope they do. Um,
I would imagine so.
but it seems like Joe has again, I think this is the game that proves that he fully understands the offense. He is developing into the quarterback. Again, he's a project for the Dallas Cowboys. Has a
Hmm.
lot of great talent, great arm strength, unbelievable cannon of an arm. And even with Jonathan Mingo, his connection with him was
Hmm.
great. I think Jonathan Mingo also made it more difficult for Camden Brown to make the roster because of how
Yeah.
he played in these 2 games. Um, and so but I think what I'm excited about and you can talk about the defense because you can talk
Hmm.
about, the debut of another, Michigan guy on the defensive side of the ball that was a lot more impressive.
Yeah.
But in terms of the offense, what was great about these 2 games is the offense could not be stopped and they controlled the clock. they were able to continue to move the ball down the field, and that's something that I'm super encouraged by because I think that helps out our
Mhm.
defense. If our offense can consistently have these long drives and just drain the clock and he's able to run the football, and that opens things up for Dak, CD, and George Pickens, and even Jake Ferguson, who I think he looks a little bit faster this offseason. And so hopefully he's getting his legs back into order. But if the offense continues to progress under Shoddy
Mhm.
the way that they look right now, that
Yeah.
bodes amazing things for this defense and Christian Parker. But Daniel, talk to us about your thoughts if you have any thoughts about the offense, but really,
Mhm.
um, talk about our defense, man.
Yeah, I think similarly, just a little bit on the offensive end, similarly to what I said about the defense. Can you move the ball when Dak Prescott's not in the game? That was gonna be the question, because and not to knocking on whatever wood I have here. Usually an even number season in terms of like, hey, this is the 2026 season. In 2024, Dak was hurt. In 2022, Dak was hurt. So like it's kind of like been one of those things of like, is he gonna get hurt this year or not? And like if he was to make it the full season healthy, God bless him. I hope it does happen. But in the case that he doesn't stay healthy, can Joe Milton in this offense move the ball? And so that again, that's a little bit of an encouraging thing to see Joe Milton grasp the offense the way that he didn't a year ago. So, and I agree with what you said. Camden Brown, I just really like Camden Brown. I think he's a playmaker. I think he goes in and gets the football and he's has a ton of energy, high motor. But Jonathan Mingo made it very hard for him to make the roster with how he played as well. And so part of me is hoping that, they only carry two quarterbacks so that way Camden Brown can stay on the team because I would hate losing him. Because he's put out great tape for NFL teams to look at and for them to steal him, either claim him off of waivers or to steal him from the practice squad. I don't know if Camden Brown for the future is a guy you want to leave open to being taken away. So if I'm Dallas, I'm trying to find a way to keep him on the roster because I think he's a really good young player that you can continue to develop, surround him with great talent to just elevate him even more. But defensively, again, what you're wanting to see from this defense is just them doing the little stuff,
Mhm.
you know, um, coupled with if Dak's healthy, this is a top five offense. Everybody knows that. So if they can control the clock as they do, and they can limit the boneheaded missed little assignments, I think it's going to bode well for the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to
Mhm.
see if that actually translates to the regular season. Um, so yeah, encouraging things to see. I'm just not sure yet if we want to get into the bigger conversation of what we really think about Dallas overall.
Yeah, I mean, I think Deshaun Barham was phenomenal. I think he
He's
made an
great.
immediate impact. I think he's gonna be fantastic, and even the linebacker, Justin Barron, he looked really good too. The thing about this defense that makes me excited is just the fact that everyone seems to know what their job is, and they're doing their job.
Yeah.
Um, Even if you see the way that the safeties are kinda covering each other, and knowing what they're not getting out of assignment, not being fooled by anything, but just playing the way that they know they're supposed to be playing. The
Mhm.
defense this game was phenomenal. Sam Williams with the sack, um and then you have, even, LT Overton, which Savage is extremely he's extremely high on. He looked really, really good. Even Jay Toya looked great, and so I'm excited for the way that this defense is gonna look in the regular season. Uh, but, I mean, yeah, I think they did extremely well. I'm excited. But what do you think just to answer this question,
Mhm.
what do you think that Brian Schottenheimer and this coaching staff has actually learned about this team from these first 2 outings?
Um, I don't know if they learned anything major. I think they're just kinda in the mindset of like, "Hey, if we can control the clock, we control our fate."
Mhm.
Um, I don't think they're expecting Christian Parker to make this jump from the worst defense to the league to a top 10 or top 5 defense. I think their hopes are, can we be middle of the pack? Or can we even be slightly below average? Because our offense is good enough to win games, and if the Cowboys don't have to come and score on every single drive, then they've got a shot. And so I think what they've learned is Christian Parker's defense is conceptually way better than what they've had the previous 2 seasons. And so for them, if they've learned anything is, all right, this defense isn't bad. And I think this defense will be okay.
Yeah. I think on the field, I don't know if there's much I guess, more that they could learn about this team, but I do think that the culture
It's
has
Shoddy's team.
it's infected this team,
Yeah, it's Shoddy's
and
team.
even the way that Jerry has somewhat kind of stayed out of the limelight.
Yeah,
I mean, Jimmy
he
Johnson's
has.
tried to bring him back in
Yeah.
moments and at times, but I think the way that Shoddy has now everyone seems to be bought into the system, and it seems like
Mhm.
Shoddy now has his guys in place on the coaching staff and especially on the field. Like,
Yeah.
we believed for a very, very long time that Dak was the only leader on this team. Micah
Mhm.
Parsons was trying to be a leader, and
He was not.
it just it
He's
didn't
not a
work.
leader.
But you have cue ball on the defensive side of the ball. You have Tyler Smith kind of stepping up and doing his thing. Rashawn Gary is doing his thing. Like, you have these leaders now on the team that can help Dak. Um, Demarion Overshone as well, stepping up and leading, especially after that Rams scrimmage. Of, hey guys, we still got work to do even after the scrimmage. Like, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And so to me, I think that's what Shoddy has learned, and maybe he already knew this, but it's something that we're learning about this team is that even last year, we're just like, okay, Brian, what kind of coach are you going to be? But now we're just like, they need to buy into what he's doing because he's doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
He really is. But let's talk about, okay, the last preseason game is coming up. Who are some players that you think are on the bubble that you think need to kinda show out and showcase what they can do?
Yeah, I think Camden Brown is the first one. I think, um, because right now you have CD, Pickens, Ryan Flournoy, Jonathan Mingo, and Turpin right now. That's 5, right? That's 5?
Yeah, that's 5.
Um, so, I mean, you've gotta really make your case that, hey, they should use a spot for you. For me, I think he's done enough already to warrant a roster spot, if nothing else but potential of the future. So, if he shows out again, then you solidify your spot in this team, and beyond that, and potentially you're fighting for that 4th wide receiver spot.
Mhm.
So I think for me, Camden Brown is that guy. A guy that I really liked, and I don't know how he did against. I have to look at it here. Yeah, I mean he didn't record a single catch. I really like the way Trigg played his first
Mhm.
outing, but he
Yeah.
really didn't do anything the second game. So I don't think he'll make the team. I'm trying to look at any of these young guys. I don't think Sam Howell. If I'm Dallas, I don't carry Sam Howell as a third quarterback. I just don't. I don't think he will provide. I don't know. Maybe I think differently about a third quarterback spot. Maybe he'll be a good scout team quarterback. Maybe. I'd rather just have Joe Milton do that if he can. So I wouldn't carry Sam Howell at all. Defensively, you can kind of make your picks there, but Yeah, I mean, there's not anything defensively that's kinda, like, jumping out at me of like, "Oh, this guy is on the bubble," that we wouldn't think should make the roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Kalen Carson's a name that comes up of as
I think he'll just make the team. I don't
I
think
don't
that.
know, man. I don't have him making the team. I have my cornerback room being Deron Bland, Josh Butler, Kobe Durant, Shelvin Revel, and then Reddy Stewart. I have Stewart
Mhm,
over
mhm,
Kalen Carson. I just don't, he just really wasn't that impressive to me. He had, I think, 3 penalties within the 2 games. Uh, and so I'm just not super impressed with him and how he's gonna do. And so I would just rather not have him on the roster at this point. I think the experiment for me is over.
mhm,
Um, I think the defense is pretty much set. I think you kinda know who's gonna be on the field. You have your
mhm,
veterans that you've signed. I think you're absolutely right. I think you have to basically make the decision. Are you gonna carry 3 quarterbacks, or are you only gonna carry 2?
mhm.
I'm trying to remember, did the Cowboys carry Will Grier or last year as a
I
3rd
don't
quarterback?
I don't know if he did. Let me look.
I I'm not 100% sure if they did. And so and that's the thing. I think with you talking about Camden Brown, if they wanna keep him on the team and you wanna make sure that no other guy picks him up, you're gonna have to carry him on the roster. You're gonna have to
Mhm,
have a 6 wide receiver. And really, realistically, the only way that you do that and they're able to carry still 3 running backs instead of like, the thing is you can't have 4 running backs on your roster.
mhm.
You gotta have 3 plus Lepke, which makes it
Yeah.
the 4, I guess. But he's
Mhm,
we all know he's really a fullback. So you're really gonna have to only carry 2 quarterbacks to be able to keep Camden Brown if that's what you wanna do, if you wanna be able to keep him on the roster. And if I'm Dallas, I'm like, I'm with you. I think you do it. I think you carry him. Even yesterday at practice, at Frisco, he made a insane catch down the sideline with I mean, it was a ball from Sam Howell, and again, Sam Howell is impressive, but again, if you wanna keep Camden Brown, you can't have 3 quarterbacks on your roster. You just can't.
mhm.
Especially when your running back room is gonna just be Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue, and Malik Davis. Phil Mafah,
Right.
I think, is the one who goes to the, practice squad unless he shows something in this last preseason, but he had 1 carry for 15 yards and a touchdown against Arizona, but Jaden Blue, he had 15 carries for 75 yards, and he showed flashes himself in that, and so I just think it's really, really hard. You're gonna have to make a decision on what you wanna do. I think if you don't carry Camden Brown as a 6th receiver, then maybe you keep Sam Howell or you keep Mafah. I think I think the defense is set. I've said it, the defense is set. I don't think that there's any big crazy changes that you make to that side of the ball. I think you kinda know who's gonna be it. I think the only toss-up defensively is if you rather go, um, with Carson
Mhm.
or if you go with Stewart. To me. Or maybe even Josh Butler's another bubble guy that you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's who I would probably put on the bubble, but, um, yeah, for sure.
Um, but let's get into now the NFC East where, um, things seem to be kind of open for the Cowboys, in my opinion, with the things that you're hearing out of I think the only team that I've heard good things from, and maybe I haven't even heard it. I'm not keeping up with Giants training camp, but you're not hearing anything bad coming
In New
from.
York.
Yeah, you're not hearing anything bad coming from you. I think the only thing is, like, trying to get Jackson Dart to not take so much risk, but I think you do that with any young quarterback. I think that's perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
Well, and
What
I
you're
think
hearing
the hit that
bu
he took
uh,
was not on him. His running
right.
back missed the block, and he just got crushed for it. Um, so part of me is not really concerned about Jackson Dart in that way. I think last year probably served as a good lesson to him of like, "Hey, bro, to make it in this league, and for as long as you probably wanna make it in this league, you need to take care of your body. And you're athletic enough, you have the arm talent to do what you wanna do, so kinda limit the mistakes and really stretch out your longevity,
Mhm.
because you have the good makings of being a good NFL quarterback."
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But what you're hearing out of Washington is the offense is struggling, the
Mhm.
defense is pitiful.
Yeah.
So, Washington is not really a concern to me. I think that they're gonna finish dead last in the East.
Yeah, I think so. I think the fact that they lost Laremy Tunsil as well, and
You also lose Debo, which is maybe
yeah.
not a huge loss to you, but that receiver room is pretty bare as it is.
Yeah, I mean, you have Terry McLaurin and then Stephon Diggs, who had kind of like a renaissance year last year. Um, I'm like, if we're not hearing good things out of their camp offensively, we know what their defense cannot do,
Mhm,
because it's been what Jaden has had to work with the last his first 2 years in the NFL, and he was able to carry them as far as he could his rookie season, and then obviously last year with the injuries and, not being able to stay on the field, just kinda put the nail in the coffin for Washington, and I don't know if much of that is gonna change because we don't really know the state of how good this offensive line is gonna be for him, especially with Tunsil out. And so, yeah, if I were to make a prediction today on where Washington would finish, it would be last because it seems like I don't wanna say Philly is trending up because obviously losing AJ Brown is something, even though I think the locker room vibe probably is a lot probably it's better without AJ Brown on there.
mhm.
Uh, and New York can only trend up with adding Harbaugh. It's a second season of Jackson Dart. Malik Neighbors is coming back from injury. The defense has good pieces that you can work with.
Mhm.
So so I think right now the only team that is trending downwards due to injury and just lack of personnel, would be Washington.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the Eagles. Um,
Mhm.
I will say this, and kinda glad a little bit glad Savage is not on this episode, because I really just don't wanna get into a tight end playing wide
Yeah,
receiver, or playing
mhm,
quarterback because I don't believe that that's
yeah,
true. But
yeah,
you are getting the sense that Jalen Hurts is throwing a lot of interceptions. I think it's 14 interceptions and 16, like, scrimmages or something like that in camp.
mhm,
Uh, so I just don't know what this offense is gonna be. I think the defense is gonna be just fine. I think Vic Fangio obviously is going to be somebody who has his team ready to play, and I think he has his guys that are gonna do extremely well. The offensive side, we just don't know what it's
mhm,
gonna look like. I think the interceptions could be a concerning thing, but it also could just mean that Jalen Hurts is just he's being more aggressive with the ball than he has been in previous training camps, is what I'm guessing.
mhm,
And so you've gotta be excited as an Eagles fan to see a more aggressive Jalen Hurts in the passing game. I believe in Devontae Smith.
mhm,
I think that without AJ Brown, he's going to be be able to showcase what he can do more than he would with AJ Brown on the field. But I can't speak to the rest of the receiver room. I don't know what they're going to be. Saquon Barkley was last year more on the offensive line than it was on him. I think we're gonna have to see that this season, and but I think that Jalen Hurts I think he's having a rough offseason, and I think it's a little bit unwarranted and unjustified because we knew
Mhm.
what the problems were in Philly regardless.
Yeah,
Like, we knew. We knew that their offensive coordinator was a problem. We knew that A.J. Brown was making things difficult, and we also knew that the offensive line wasn't giving you the same level of production in the running game
yeah,
as they did the year before. So we knew that their offense had problems. I think my question is, has it been resolved? And I
yeah.
think if the answer is no, I have a hard time picking them to win the division this season. Not because I don't think Jalen Hurts is capable, but I just don't think the offense is there from the coaching side or even from an on the field talent side that they're there. But what do you think?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I the training camp interceptions, I just don't put any stock into because I think it was either last year or the year before that, Jalen threw little to no interceptions during that camp, and everyone was like, "That's a problem." But now that he's throwing interceptions, it's like, "Oh, man, that's a problem too." So, you have people sometimes they're like, if they don't throw interceptions, it's bad. If they throw too many, it's bad, and it's like, you know, if he was throwing none, you guys would have a problem with it. So I really don't put any stock to in the training camp interceptions because in training camp, I mean, Brock went through the same thing last year. Like he's gonna they're trying things that they wouldn't try in a game
Yeah.
to see if it would work or see if they could pull it off. So I'm not really concerned about it at all. Now I do agree with you. There is question marks on like even just the offensive coaching side. Like, is Sean Mannion going to be even any better than Patullo? And you hope, yes, you hope that that's the case, but it's an unknowable quantity right now. So it's gonna we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Mhm.
Is the running game gonna return to form? That's gonna be a huge question mark because if it is gonna return some, even if it wasn't as dominant as the Super Bowl winning year, but it is a level to where you can be top 10 in running. That's gonna help Jalen out a whole bunch because, that allows Devontae to kinda do his thing. Dallas Carter, can you get him involved? Uh, Hollywood Brown is on the team.
Mhm.
Devont Dontavion Wicks is on the team as well, and so
Yeah.
they're not terrible players, and so he does have some semblance of weapons, even if it was not what he's been used to in the previous years. And that defense, I believe, is still gonna be pretty good. I mean, they were 2nd in the league last year, and obviously, it's not gonna just automatically transfer to this year, and they did lose some players, I believe. I don't think
Yeah.
they've kept everyone on that defense,
They
but
develop players extremely well.
I mean, they've got a
Now
great
Christian
GM, so
Parker
they're
could be a reason for that as well. So they
yeah, I
lost
mean
Christian Parker.
yeah, so I mean, that's gonna tell a whole lot. Right now, I am not ready to put New York above them. I do believe that the Cowboys will win the division. I think it will be a hard-fought division.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question mark that I have for Philly is your offense gonna return to some credibility that it didn't have last year? And I
Mhm.
think if they do, they'll be fine.
Yeah. I think the division is going to come down to November 26th at 3:30. I think the Cowboys versus the Eagles, Thanksgiving is going to dictate who wins the division because, I mean, if we're looking at the Cowboys schedule, it we start off with the Giants in New York,
Mhm,
Washington, then we play Baltimore, Houston.
mhm,
So, very good chances we go 2 and 2 to start the year,
right,
right? But then we have Tampa Bay, which who I think will win that game.
mhm,
But then we go to Green Bay. And to me, that's going to be a pivotal game because They play Philly right after that in Philly. So potentially, if you're not careful, the
Mhm,
Cowboys could head into November
mhm.
and be 3-4 or well, they'll be like yeah, maybe 3-4. Yeah. So and that but you get a pretty easy stretch of games to some extent. You go to Arizona or you're at home in Arizona, you go to Indy. So I think that's 2 wins right there. So you're 5 and
Mhm.
4 potentially.
I think they'll
Then
beat the Niners. I think
you
they'll beat
think
the
they'll beat the
Niners.
Niners?
Yeah, because I think the 49ers defense is not gonna be any good this year.
Okay, so then you have the Cowboys at 6 and 4.
Mhm.
Then
Then
we
you beat the
beat
Titans 8 and
yeah,
4
7 and 4.
or 7 and 4, yeah.
Then you have that
The
Thanksgiving game.
3 yeah, you got a tough
You got a
4
tough
games
3
right
games.
after
That's
that.
oh,
Yeah,
4?
for sure
Oh,
3. For sure
for sure.
3, but potentially 4.
Yeah. So you got Philly, then you go to Seattle with the
Yeah.
defense, then you go to the Rams.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that they beat Philly on Thanksgiving, so they go 8 and 4. I think they lose the next 2, potentially 8 and 6. But then I think
Well,
they
you're
finish up the year and they go 11 and 6. Is 11 and 6 good enough to win the division?
um,
'Cause
I mean,
let me look at Philly's
yeah.
schedule.
I mean, they've got Commanders, Titans. I think they'll win those 2 games. They play the Bears, and
The Bears beat them last time, and they're in Chicago.
mhm, yeah, so you can chalk up to them losing. The Rams,
Wait, do you think that they're gonna beat Cincinnati?
Cincinnati
Oh, sorry, that's a preseason game, that's my bad.
as a preseason game, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so start off with Washington and 10 yeah, so they're 2-0. They're on the
Uh,
road in Chicago.
yeah, I think they beat the Rams last year.
I
Um,
don't know if they beat them this year, though,
I mean, the Rams are they're
but
kinda weird sometimes.
their defense is fantastic, and if Philly's offense if we don't know what Philly's offense is gonna be,
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I could see them
you can
winning
be
their
you
first
can put them
3
2 and
games.
2.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, let's put them 2 and 2. Then they play Jacksonville, an international game, I think they win that game.
Yeah,
So, they're 3 and 2. Then they've
4 and
got
2.
yeah, you think they're beating Carolina?
Yeah, yeah, they'll beat Carolina, 4 and 2, then you can
They beat us.
I have them splitting with Dallas, so you
Yeah,
can put 5 and 2.
5 and 2. Then they go to
6 and
Washington.
2, 7 and 2, they'll win the next 2 games. I think they'll beat the Steelers 8 and 2. So they're gonna go in 8 and 2 versus Dallas.
They're gonna
So
lose that
say
game.
Dallas wins on Thanksgiving 8 and 3, 9 and 3, 10 and 3, 10 and 4,
10 and
10 and
5,
5, 10 and 6. Because I don't think they'll beat the
the Niners
49ers this time.
in
They
in San Francisco.
yeah, I
And so you're seeing 10 and 6, so 11 and 6. This is going for the division. The tiebreaker
so
is
it
going to
would
die, or maybe.
yeah, and so it would just kinda be how tiebreakers work and all that. So, like I said, I think the Cowboys and Philly very close right now. I think it's either one of their division. It's just we're gonna just have to see where everything falls. So I think Dallas will win the division, but it also wouldn't surprise me if Philly wins the division for the 3rd straight year.
Mm, mm. Well, so since Savage isn't gonna be on, do you wanna tell the audience of, what you've been hearing from the 2 of us on our group chat?
Yeah, and so I don't know if it's people who are probably listening for the first time don't know this about me. I although I am a Cowboys fan, I'm probably the most pessimistic
Allegedly.
Cowboys fan you'll ever meet. Just because I think the first time I experienced heartbreak was January 2007. It was the first year Tony Romo started, and he fumbled the snap uh, when Grammatica was going to kick the game-winning field goal to send the Cowboys to the divisional round. That was the first time I ever experienced heartbreak.
Mhm.
Since then, as a Cowboys fan, it's been years of disappointment, a few bright spots for sure, like the 2010 or the 2009 season when Miles Austin had his breakout year,
Mm.
and the Cowboys were really, really good, and they won their first playoff game in a really long time against the Eagles, and then just got stomped the next year. But I don't think anybody thought they were beating Minnesota that year. And then obviously the years of prosperity that came after the 12-5 season, after like a dark period of Jason Garrett, um, where Jerry just wasted the prime years of Tony Romo. So Mike McCarthy comes back, takes over as a starter, all the things. And, you know, the Cowboys has had top five defenses, all those things. I have a very callous, almost aggressive angst about the Dallas Cowboys defenses.
Wait, did you mean top 5 offense?
No, top five defenses.
Oh, you meant top
Like
5
I'm
defense.
like you're talking about like the Leighton Vander Esch, the Jalen Smith, like those years, and then Micah Parsons, to where there was a game, I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe 2, 3 years ago, where they played Buffalo, and the Cowboys just got smacked defensively. That day, I marked as the start of my disbelief in the Dallas Cowboys moving forward, to where I look at this team pessimistically as if until they actually do the thing that they say that they're going to do, I will not believe in this team to go any further than I think they probably will. So right now, if I were to tell you, I think the Cowboys will make the wild card, maybe win a wild card game, and then that's it.
Mm.
No matter how they're playing, because as much as Stephen A. Smith has fallen off the cliff in terms of credibility and likability, the Cowboys will do Cowboys things and they will always let you down. So, in order to guard my own heart and not fall into the trap that millions of Cowboys fans fall into every single season, I refuse to believe that they will win the Super Bowl until they probably actually do it.
Mm.
I'll say all that to say this. David, earlier in this show,
Yeah,
said,
I can't
he said earlier in this show, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to, get ahead of
Yeah,
my skis here.
absolutely.
That Seattle preseason game, Cowboys are rolling. The Cowboys are doing really great.
We
I'm
are.
there. I'm in our group chat. I will text like passive aggressive things to kind of undermine the excitement that Savage and David will usually be like, "Oh man, aren't they really good? Like, man, they're looking good today." And be like, "It's not going to happen this year, guys." Like, but that particular day, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna lay off the stick and I'm gonna try to be positive and encouraging throughout this game. And then David and Savage hit me with this. We're winning the chip this year. So I don't want David lying to the people and saying how he's not getting ahead of himself or he's not calling this and that when every time the Cowboys do something positive, whether it's ownership, roster, or a game, David and Savage are like, we're winning the Super Bowl this year. So I so I'm not gonna let him deceive people into thinking that he's,
Are you gonna let me
even
respond to this?
keeled. Oh yeah, you go. I just wanted everyone to know what why I found your earlier statement really
Okay.
ridiculous.
Okay. Hey, that I'm 100% fine with you doing that. Listen, the group
Yeah.
chat is for fun times and trolling and vibes and all that kind of stuff.
Mm,
Here's how I really feel about this football team. Now, I'll be
all
honest
right.
right here.
Fair.
Okay, this is
Fair.
my take.
Good.
I I believe that the Cowboys are probably another year away from really proving themselves to be big time Super Bowl contenders. However, with the way that the offseason went this year, and with the way that the players have bought into not just Brian Schottenheimer, but also Christian Parker, and the way that this team has really just grown in terms of leadership and its culture, anything could happen. Anything could happen. Now, I think what goes into that is how good is this defense? I think if the defense is middle of the pack, I think what you said of the Cowboys maybe going and winning a playoff game and then getting bounced in the second round is probably going to happen,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
But I think that if this defense can just give us moments and give us plays and opportunities to stay in ball games, then I think the pressure is back on Dak Prescott and the offense to do what they do. Because I think what we will get lost in it because people will say that I'm a Dak lover, which I do love Dak Prescott, and they think that I have this weird bias with him and that I never hold him accountable. If the defense does their job and the offense is on the field and we don't have major injuries, like it's back on the offense to go and produce and to do what they need to do.
Right.
So I do think that overall, I think the Cowboys are still a year away, but anything can happen. Could the
Fair.
Cowboys go on a run this season? They
Okay.
absolutely could, because I believe in Shoddy, I believe in this coaching staff, I believe in the work that Jerry Jones has done in the offseason to address our key needs, and with any team in the NFL that wants to win a Super Bowl, there's gonna be some luck involved. There's gonna be some things that need to go your way.
Mhm.
So I'm saying this team is set up right now to where there's a chance we could do it. Maybe
Okay.
ring number 6 could be loading. I'm saying it could happen. Do I believe it 100%? Yeah.
There it is. All
Yeah.
that to say what
I
I've
believe
been
it.
saying.
I believe
Okay.
listen, I believe. I believe.
Okay.
But I think if it doesn't happen, I'm be able to we'll do it next year, is I guess what I'm saying. We'll do it next
Yeah.
year. We'll run it back. We'll have
Okay.
another offseason. We'll do it again. So, sometimes you just gotta believe, man. Sometimes you just gotta believe.
Sure.
So, but I I'll ask you this question, Daniel, and this could be the last
Okay.
question, then we can go.
Great.
Doesn't this offseason just make it feel that something is different about this team than in previous seasons? Can you at least say that?
Here, it's a two-parter. It's a two-parter because I believe that actually, I will set this up by again just putting you and Savas has said that the last 4 seasons, there's just something about this team. You guys have said that for the last 4
I don't
years
know if we've said that. I don't know if
that
we've said
this
that.
year just feels different. It's bro, we're on to something here. So when you guys say that, it doesn't do anything for me because you guys say that every single season.
I
Now,
don't
here's what I will
I don't
say.
think
Here's what
I
I
have.
will admit. This off season has been trending in the right direction. That's what I will admit. It has been trending in the right direction because Jerry has stayed out of the media for the
Yeah,
most part. Now, Jimmy
for sure.
Johnson has tried to bring him back in. Jimmy, what are you doing, brother? Why are you trying to do? Just forget the whole thing. It really doesn't matter. Unless Jerry is like out there in the ether just yelling this stuff, then fine, respond. But like, bro, it's been years since that happened. So, really quick aside for that, Jerry has stayed out of the limelight for the most part. I'm loving what they're doing with this roster. They've gotten good pieces to come around and shore up the spots that they were weak at. And I do believe in the offensive coaching staff a lot. I think Clayton Adams and Brian Schottenheimer have done a really amazing job with this offense and bringing in Christian Parker, a new innovator, a brand new thinker to work with this defense is a positive thing. So I will admit they are trending in the right direction. But like I say, every time we talk about Cowboys expectations, I'll believe it when I see it. I got to see it on the field and when it
Okay.
matters.
I get it. I just wanna push back on the 4 years in a row kinda thing. So,
Mhm.
2 years ago And Mike McCarthy's last year, I said the Cowboys are going 5-12.
Mhm,
I did say that.
mhm.
Then I said last season, I said, I think it's gonna be I don't think we're gonna win 7 games, right?
Mm.
And then Savage was on the, "Hey, ring number 6 is loading," and I didn't stop him, but
It's mostly
my
from
take
Savage,
it
but you
is.
don't disagree too hard with him. Like, you're just like, "Yeah, yeah,
Don't, he's my
kinda."
I 'cause I wanna believe. I've not
Okay.
I've not grown into what you have become, into this huge pessimistic, you know, like, I gotta believe it, I gotta see it to believe it kinda thing. I'm not Thomas, okay? I
I
like
don't
to believe
I
that
don't
I'm a
see
believer.
I don't seem as happy, but I'm telling you, it's way better being on this side of it.
I don't think it is,
I
personally,
think it is.
personally.
It's like in the new Spider-Man movie. You don't expect anything and, you don't get
That's a
hurt.
that's a sad way to look at life, but we're gonna end it on that note. Thank you so much for joining us on the 214. We hope you had a great time. We'll be back next week, probably with Twin Reads or maybe a Double Take a Sports podcast to
Mhm.
basically preview the NFL season. But
It's coming quick.
until next time, God bless.